Well, this weekend was a quiet weekend for all the NASCAR regional series, with ARCA, Modifieds, and Canada series all off this weekend, along with the Euro series. So, very quiet off week as all of them go and celebrate. Well, for Canada, they celebrate Canada Day on July 1st. Everybody else, except Europe, celebrates 4th of July. But meanwhile, there are two open wheel series in F1 and IndyCar that are racing on this Independence Day weekend. So we're going to take a look at the action with them, with IndyCar at Mid-Ohio and then F1 at Silverstone. So let's take a look at what happened this weekend. So starting off, we have the F1 race at Silverstone. Once again, another British Grand Prix that has been plagued by rain. Of course, F1 can race in the rain because FI lets their best drivers in the world actually prove their skills in the wet, unlike NASCAR, who likes to baby the fuck out of their drivers in these kind of conditions. And yet, NASCAR has the audacity to label them as the best stock car drivers in the world. Yet they baby the fuck out of said best drivers in the world. F1 would never. But yeah, Verstappen would get an early lead on until we got a safety car with Liam Lawson crashing out and having mechanical issues. Actually, it was a virtual safety car to start out. And then we would have another virtual safety car for another incident. And then Oscar Piastri would take the lead. And then Piastri would pretty much hold the lead for most of the race until we get around to until we get a full safety car out for a heavy rain pouring down because of hydroplaning. So yeah, we had a monsoon literally cause a damn safety car. And then we would get another safety car incident with Isaac Hajir crashing out. And then under the last safety car incident for the final restart, as they announced that the safety car was ending, we then have Oscar Piastri brake checks. All of a sudden gets slow. It looked like he brake checked Max Verstappen, causing Verstappen to get loose. And then on the restart, Verstappen would then proceed to go Spinola near pit entry, or the road to pit entry. And that would take Verstappen out of contention as he fell down the order. But the FI decided, no. You don't get to try and bait Verstappen into taking penalties like that. As in a rare instance, Piastri made a rare mistake, and it cost him. Because the FI decided that even though Piastri is in a British car in the British Grand Prix, he is not a British driver, because we all know the chart. If you're British, you don't get a penalty. If you ain't British, get the fuck out of my sight. Beep. As Piastri would get a 10-second penalty for a safety car infringement for brake checking Verstappen. Piastri tried to fight all you want, but no, rules are rules, kiddo. Just a rare mistake, and it ends up costing him the win, as Piastri would end up serving the penalty during this pit stop when they switched from inters to dry tires in the closing laps. Yeah, and that 10 seconds, that penalty ended up costing him, because that was all he would need to stay ahead of Lando Norris. And that's crazy. Piastri had the race in the bag, yet he makes one mistake on the restart, and it costs him the win. And keep in mind, with how close that championship battle is between Oscar Piastri and Lando Norris, mistakes like that can come back and cost you the championship. All I say to Piastri is, hey, if you lose the championship this year, it better be by more than 7 points. But meanwhile, up front, Lando Norris, he would take advantage of Piastri's rare brain fart. And even with Piastri trying to beg for team orders to swap positions since Piastri said the penalty was unfair, McLaren said hell no to team orders, we're racing. Honestly, good my McLaren by telling Piastri no to team orders. Let them actually fucking race. Team orders are stupid and bad for the sport anyway, and it ruins a lot of things. Plus, Piastri was nowhere near Lando for the team orders to happen. Like, Piastri wanted to have a repeat of Hungary last year. And McLaren said, no way, Jose. Honestly, I don't know why the fuck you're calling for team orders when you and Lando are first and second in the championship. Like, maybe if Lando was like third or fourth in the championship and you were like in a close fight with like Verstappen for the championship, then maybe the team orders would be justified because, season-long points format, every point matters. But when your biggest rival in the championship is your teammate, there ain't gonna be no team orders. You gotta go get it yourself. In which Piastri could not go get it himself, as Lando Norris goes on and gets the win at Silverstone. But of course, that's not going to be the big talk, with Lando finally getting his first win at his home track and becoming the 25th driver to win his home race. That's not going to be the talk of this day, because the talk of this day is going to be from the driver that finished third from 19th on the grid after 239 races. The most anticipated and long overdue podium has finally happened. Nico Hülkenberg has finally done it. For the first time in Nico Hülkenberg's F1 career, the jokes are over. The memes are dead. Nico Hülkenberg finally has a podium finish. Yes, it has happened. Hülkenberg finally got a podium finish. Quick, somebody alert the press. This is not a drill. I repeat, this is not a fucking drill. We all know the situation. Let's all stay calm here. We've all been waiting for this for years. I mean, a lot of years. Nearly 15 years, to be exact. The moment we've been waiting a long time for, because we've known how close Nico Hülkenberg has been to a podium so many times in his career. It's the most starts most starts by an F1 driver without a podium before his first career podium. The most long overdue podium. He should have had at least a couple podiums by now, maybe even a win at this point. But something has always cost Nico Hülkenberg a podium. But not today. Hülkenberg drove an outstanding race. He finally got his moment. Honestly, good for Hülkenberg. Finally glad he got his moment. He's been long overdue for a podium finish. Yeah, when you all thought it was illegal for Hülkenberg to get a podium finish, the racing gods said, nah, we're done with toying with him. He can have his moment today. And all it cost was Lewis Hamilton's podium streak at Silverstone. Damn. So that's the price. So that's the price we have to pay for Hülkenberg to get a podium. It cost Lewis Hamilton his podium streak at his home track. I think it's a fair trade-off. I think it's a fair trade-off for a soul. I mean, Lewis Hamilton's had how many fucking podiums at Silverstone in his career? I think it's okay to let Hülkenberg have this one. But yeah, Hülkenberg gets the win. Gets the podium while Lando Norris wins. Also, it's Sauber's first podium since Kumi Kobayashi got a podium at Japan in 2012. So yeah, it's been a while since Sauber came close to a podium. But yeah, they fought out. But yeah, what a moment for Nico Hülkenberg. What a great race from F1 here. Even with the rain, a little chaotic, a lot of comers and goers and different pit strategies, deciding when to go to wets, when to go back to dries, etc. And hey, Nico Hülkenberg finally gets his moment. That's great to see. And also, the championship battle gets tightened up between Lando and Piastri. As with Lando's win and Piastri's brain fart getting him the second, Lando cuts Piastri's championship lead down to 8th. So, of course, a couple weeks with no F1, as the next F1 race won't be for 3 weeks until when they go to Belgium. But hey, this championship fight, but this McLaren Civil War is heating up. Looking forward to it. Now let's go across the pond to the other race that happened. Now we go to IndyCar at Mid-Ohio for the traditional 4th of July race at Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. And well, to start this Mid-Ohio race, it played out like every other Mid-Ohio race. As we had a crash on the first lap. It would take Will Power, Joseph Newgarden, and Graham Rahal all out of contention. Especially Power when you all thought just when Power's pain couldn't get any worse. Oh, it gets worse than that. As a few moments later, Power would then be forced to retire when the car caught on fire. Yep, crappy ass parts once again strike again. I don't think Will Power fans are going to be playing Burn Baby Burn today. It's the opposite of nice for them. Damn. Honestly, someone needs to take a wellness check on Ian Perez right now. I hope he's okay right now after this so far this year. I guess Ian's alright, isn't he? But yeah, honestly, that's not really surprising. That just seems to be the norm for Mid-Ohio every fucking time we come here. Seems like every time we come to Mid-Ohio, there's always a Lab 1 crash. Jesus Christ. But once we did get going underway, it was mainly the Alex Palou show. Oh look, Alex Palou once again dominating another race on a road course. What a shocker. Who could have seen this coming? As the only thing that really slowed this race down after that crash was when the safety car came out for Christian Rasmussen stalling on the track and failing to get to the runoff area. But even despite that, Palou was still the class of the field, really dominating this race. The only time Palou lost the lead was on green flag pit stops from some drivers staying out to try and get a lab lead to get that bonus point for leading the lab for the championship. And then others on different strategies like Scott Dixon. Like in the end, it was going to be a battle between which strategy would reign supreme. The three-stop strategy of Palou's or the two-stop strategy of Dixon's. And after the final pit stops, it looked like Palou's strategy was going to reign supreme, concerned that he still came out ahead of Dixon despite making an extra pit stop over Dixon, and then proceed to pull away. But then the script writers for IndyCar decide to throw a twist, and we get our turning point with 6 to go. As it's 6 laps to go, just when it looked like Palou was going to run away and win another racing week at 7 out of 10 this year, the racing gods and the IndyCar script writers throw a twist. As in turn 8 with 6 to go, Palou would miss the turn and go wide and go in the grass area. And as he was catching the car, Scott Dixon would take advantage of it. And Dixon would end up getting the run and taking the lead with 6 to go. So yeah, that's a very rare mistake from Palou. That mistake almost never happens. You never see Palou make that kind of mistake early. Like that, especially at that crucial point in the race. And that's crazy. Palou had this race in the bag, and yet Palou makes one mistake, and it ends up costing him. As even despite Palou's best efforts to try and catch up to Dixon and pass him back, he just couldn't do anything to Dixon, as Scott Dixon would then spend the last 5 or 6 laps doing a masterclass defense on Palou. And Scott Dixon proves this year that apparently it is not illegal for somebody not named Alex Palou or Kyle Kirkwood to win a race this year. As Scott Dixon plays spoiler in Mid-Ohio with the upset and gets the win at Mid-Ohio for his 7th win at the track and his 59th career win. Also the 21st straight season that Scott Dixon has won an IndyCar race in. Jesus. What a streak for Dixon. But yeah, Dixon somehow, some people will say that Dixon backed in this win, but even if you do want to say that, you got to take advantage. You got to put yourself in a position to take advantage when something like what happened to Palou happens. Dixon happened to just be in the right place at the right time when Palou fucked up, and Dixon took advantage of it, and there you go. He's in victory lane. But yeah, you gotta feel for Palou. He just absolutely blew it. It's very simple how Palou lost. He choked. He flat out choked. Palou had this race in the bag, and he blew it. He had it, and he blew it. It is the vintage, you blew it moment.
I'm sorry. You had an opportunity, and you blew it.
You blew it. This close, and you blew it.
Guess what? You blew it.
You blew it! You blew it.
You blew it, man.
You blew it, boy! You really blew it!
You blew it! You had it all and you blew it!
You blew it! You blew it!
You blew it.
But Palou fans, there is one positive from this choke job. Even despite Palou choking an easy win away, he still has a commanding championship lead, as he still ends up extending his championship lead despite choking like that. Yeah, even despite him choking, he still extends the championship lead because Kyle Kirkwood was not on his game today. Just those Andretti cars are not that good on old road courses. They're good on street circuits, but road courses are just a whole totally different ballpark. As now Palou extends its championship lead over Kyle Kirkwood to 113 points. So yeah, even though Scott Dixon won the battle today, Alex Palou is still winning the damn war for the IndyCar championship. It's okay, Palou fans. You still got a commanding lead in the championship. Even though it may be a little bit until Palou probably wins again. Considering that next weekend for IndyCar is the Iowa doubleheader, an oval race. I think a lot of Palou haters will go on suicide watching Palou sweeps the Iowa doubleheader. It's because if Palou sweeps the Iowa doubleheader, then that'll officially kill all those road course merchant allegations to sleep. Even though Palou kind of already did that with the Indy 500 win earlier this year. But yeah, just your average Alex Palou domination race until Palou fumbled the bag with 6 to go and Dixon ends up keeping his streak alive. So yeah, we finally have somebody this year not named Alex Palou or Scott or Kyle Kirkwood win a race this year. And it's Scott Dixon with his 59th win. At least Dixon gets to keep that streak alive of 21 straight winning seasons, I guess. Even though Dixon's not going to win the 7th title this year. But at least Dixon finally gets to have something good happen this year. But yeah, just a interesting race. But don't worry, ovals come next weekend for IndyCar. So that'll be the main focus of next week's recap. It's the doubleheader in Iowa. And of course, next week we'll also have a Cup Series recap. With the Cup race at Sonoma. I originally said it was going to be Dover. I fucked up. I thought Sonoma was the weekend of the IndyCar race in Toronto. I mixed up the schedule. Sonoma's the next recap. I'm not going to be recapping Dover because Dover's the weekend of the IndyCar race in Toronto. So, yeah. But yeah, next weekend, there's this Cup race recap for Sonoma next week. But anyway, that wraps it up here. See you all next weekend for IndyCar in Iowa and the Cup Series at Sonoma. I'm out.